Let's start out with some of the news. We're going to talk about plenty of stuff today. Let's start out with the news and see where it takes us. Main story, obviously, is the U.S. Army trying to trying to steal drip away from Yemen's troops by taking over a Venezuelan oil tanker. Further provocation towards starting a war with the sovereign state of Venezuela under the same pretenses that have been previously used to initiate the conflict and later mass murder and ethnic cleansing of Iraqis. Let's start out. Where is this? Why is this like this? No. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Why are you like this? I do not understand. Okay, you go stream. Okay, it's this one. Nobody can do Yemen style shit. Okay, let's see the repercussions of all of this shit. Okay, let's see the reaction for the Russian Federation. Remember, friends, wonderful. Mickey is a nickname. Nicknames are for friends. Michael Mouse is not our friend. Absolutely, Necrotic. Thank you for the 23 months, baby. Thank you very, very much, my friend. Thank you to everybody contributing. If we finish this year with 3,000 subscribers, I promise I will increase the number of streams we do next year. That is my, the ultimate dream target. Don't worry. If we don't hit it, I'm not going to KMS myself or consider myself a fucking loser. But to hit year 2 of streaming with 3,000 subscriptions would be average and shit would be an insane achievement. Which would genuinely show me the potential not only for agitating for socialism and hanging out with you fuckers, but also the very realistic financial aspect that needs to be looked at, especially for someone that does multiple projects, as a very viable option to dedicate more and more time to. And maybe even eventually do full-time, which would be absurdly good. Obviously, I wouldn't abandon my other projects, but that would be kind of a crazy thing. And I don't know. Also, it would be a massive ego boost chat, both for you and for me, that we managed to build such a big community of 3,000 fucking subscribers in 2 years. It's pretty crassy on Twitch, right? On Twitch, that's not rookie numbers. That is not rookie numbers on Twitch, okay? Thank you immediately, Dysfunction for the gifty and Comserade for the Prime, especially the Prime people. What the hell, bro? It's free. Just click on that thing. So yeah, let's start off. What did Vladimir Light say about this?
As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually.
The United States is ramping up its military operations off the coast of Venezuela, and this time seizing an oil tanker. Take a look at this new video to our monitors here showing.
This is low-key great because the parallel is being made with what the Yemenis troops have been doing, the so-called Houthis. And the parallels between that and this are further entrenching people's very rational belief that there is no such thing as international law, that we still live in a world of might makes right, that it's very much so. If I do it, it's based. If they do it, it's terrorism. That sanctions are only applied to our enemies. Sanctions are only applied to countries that we deem as authoritarian, while actively funneling cash into a country that is participating in genocide live on 4K on everybody's fucking mobile phone. Okay, the contrast, the contradiction between what they sell you as America being the good cop, the United States being a true supporter of a principled kind of carte blanche approach to geopolitics. The size of the contradictions on display here will motivate even the most basic of normies towards potentially developing some sort of consciousness. So it's in a weird way when it comes to the optics. Let's say, I guess it is the United States taking another L after another L, because we must remember that an empire functioning properly is one which continues utilizing previously defined successful tactics. The second it starts, quote unquote, stepping out of bounds when it comes to particularly MAGA America and Trump's America, that is doing everything with a lot more pomp, let's say, okay? Operations like this happen all the time. Operations like this probably happen on a weekly basis. We probably don't know even 1% of 1% of the number of planes, tanks, boats, fishermen, random civilians that the American Special Forces fucking gut on a daily basis. The contradiction I am talking about here, because that other thing works when it comes to upkeeping empire. The contradiction I'm talking about here is recording this and publishing this and flexing with this, okay? That shows empire trying to do something different. And whenever empire is trying to do something different, means the previous methodology can no longer supply the necessary expediency for growth that they are used to on average. So now they're scattering everywhere and trying whatever they can try that is pitched to them as new. Okay? So, it's very interesting that now we are showing clandestine death squad operations for the broader public. It's incredible and it's good. It's very good. Let them keep showing. Let them keep showing. Let them keep showing.
That operation. President Donald Trump confirmed the operation.
Give the opposition, no matter if you like it or don't like it, the opposition in China, the opposition in India, the opposition in Russia, the opposition even in certain European countries, the opposition in plenty of South American countries, the opposition in Venezuela, to show in 4K to their own masses that, sure, we're not perfect, but these guys you're expecting to liberate you and introduce you to democracy, they're the same shit as us. At least we are your shit, okay? At least we are your shit. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe some Americans will not understand what I'm about to say, but I'm 100% sure that everybody else, especially from the so-called developing world, will agree with this, no matter how much we dislike our pieces of corrupt shit in government. We prefer them over being under the imperialist boot and being governed by some fucking yank 7,000 miles away in a paper house or whatever the fuck they built it over there. Okay? No, we do not want to be liberated. Thank you very fucking much. Because the only thing that shit has ever done, when done from the when given by the hand of the American, 95% of the time, post-World War II, was what? Made the situation even fucking worse. I would say that these are not failing methods. They're failing methods for the American people and the American worker, but for the American capitalists, they're incredibly successful, and they've made themselves incredibly rich of this exact form of bulwark imperialism like we saw in Iraq and Libya and Syria. The list goes on. You completely did not listen to what I had to say. You literally just did not listen to what I said. I was not talking about bulwark imperialism. I was talking about recording it in 4K and publishing it to mainstream media and flexing with doing shit like this. My friend. Okay? I'm not saying, oh, they are doing something new. They're starting another war. That is the least new thing ever. Okay? America's entire economy is fucking built on the military-industrial complex. I mean, you don't have to be a Marxist to understand when the largest chunk of your tax money going to the military means that you have to use that military. The fuck? Like, you can be literally 12. Obviously, it's more complex than that, but if you want to explain it to somebody that's literally 12, that's it. And that's not necessarily a contradiction, because when you are the biggest military, you can arguably afford to fight wars forever and ever, right? And of course, that will hurt the economy and the everyday regular Joe American, but it will definitely not hurt capital growth and the further entrenchment of the super wealthy holding power in the United States of America. So I agree with you, Gay Lennon. What I tried to say, though, the new contradiction, them trying something new, is doing everything this publicly, okay? They are, I mean, I've talked about this plenty of times. They're no longer doing manufacturing consent the way they did it before. Now there's open censorship. Now there's open attacks against public personas. They're not doing secret clandestine operations. They're doing it in your face. They're not pretending to be the good guy. They're just saying, oh, we're doing this because this is in our interests and because we are powerful, okay? They are shifting. They're shifting a pitch of what America is supposed to be for the so-called international community and their own population. And the only reason why anybody who's rational or who thinks from a materialist lens would find them, doing this, would rationalize why they're doing this, is because there's some sort of material reason. What can the material reason be? Well, not everything is working out properly, both when it comes to their domestic economy, when it comes to late-stage capitalism, but also, most importantly, when it comes to, arguably most importantly, their position as a unipolar world power, okay? That fucking ship is slowly sailing, so now they're like, dude, what if I attach, like, jet skis to the ship? But sir, we've been, this is a high-tech ship. We use torpedoes against enemies. It's got like solar. And then you have Trump, who comes in and who's not, he is America, okay? He is not changing America. America being the way America is has positioned Trump at the executive chair. The capitalist democracies don't work the other way around. Okay? So-called democracy. You get what I fucking mean. I have to simplify shit, because otherwise we'll be here for 7 hours. Oh, wait, it's a stream. We can be here for 7 hours. I caught myself in that train of thought. That's fucking hilarious. But yes, the ship is sailing this way. But now, all of a sudden, there's other ships. And maybe, in 10 years and 20 years, that other ship might surpass me. And at moments like this, you're either, a empire that does not wobble, and many times America has successfully not wobbled, and other empires in the past have successfully not wobbled, but then they wobbled, okay? You either dedicate yourself to, improving the engine, blowing the shit out of more ships, attaching, faster and faster and faster contradictions to it, or you try to experiment, which then increase the contradictions even more. Oh, let's attach jet skis to the fucking ship. Oh, let's buy another ship, and then that ship's gonna pull us, which was the increasing to 5% of GDP for NATO, right? All of this shit. When you see your enemy changing tactics that have worked for them for decades upon decades, it means something is not right in their camp. Again, you don't have to be a Marxist for this. This is fucking as cringe as it's gonna sound, but this is just art of war, baby. Okay. There's only two reasons why an enemy camp starts using other strategies that it has not been using up until now. And those two reasons depend on what position they're doing it from. If they're doing it from a position of weakness, or if they're doing it from a position of strength. And it's always the most difficult to discover whether it's from a position of weakness or from a position of strength. Is the United States invading Venezuela from a position of weakness or a position of strength? Did the Russian Federation initiate a special military operation? Did the Russian Federation invade Ukraine from a position of weakness or a position of strength? Did Hezbollah throw missiles into Tel Aviv from a position of weakness or a position of strength? Whether it is one or the other will inform you on the current status, okay, of a particular organization, group, nation, co-federation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is surprisingly fun. We don't always have to exclusively talk from the like Marxian lens. Unless some of you just immediately go like, that's not necessary, even though that is quite dialectical, and materialist. But it is a little bit of a gamba, if you know what I mean. Because, but that's life, that continuous risk. You continuously have to risk. If you risk nothing, you gain nothing. Welcome to not capitalism. Welcome to absolutely every experience in history of mankind. Safety is not for the weak. Safety is for the stupid. Okay?
During a roundtable with tech leaders just yesterday. Now, this is the first U.S. seizure of an oil cargo from Venezuela. It's also the Trump administration's first known action against a Venezuela-related tanker since ordering a massive military buildup in the Caribbean. Venezuela is now accusing the U.S. of, quote, blatant theft and international piracy. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Dagra has those details.
Venezuela has condemned the seizure of its oil tankers, international piracy, and...
This is the contradiction I'm talking about. You have CBS News 24/7 that can only talk about this particular scenario because they recorded it and they wanted to publish it, okay? They didn't record it and publish it because every fucking special forces operation of the United States of America has to be shown to the masses because you live in like free speech land over there, full transparency, land of the free, the brave, and the fat. No, it's because he wanted to flex. It's because he thought it's going to do good numbers when it comes to the position of the Republican Party currently, and therefore his own position in the hierarchy of power of the United States State Department, right? That's why. that's why. So let them keep doing it. Let reporters keep reporting on it. Let reporters sometimes even accidentally, no matter how much they very often do not want to do it, show the other perspective. Let it fester. You want contradictions to spill over and spill over and spill over and spill over. Okay? You don't want, okay, you want the Nazis to gas people in glass cages, not behind 10-foot walls, so that you can stop the gassing.
Brazen theft. We're learning that Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a phone call with Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, expressed solidarity with the Venezuelan people. Some Democratic lawmakers are expressing concern. Senator Rand Paul saying it sounds a lot like the beginning of a war. Chris Coons says he is gravely concerned Trump is sleepwalking us into a war with Venezuela. And certainly seizing that oil tanker yesterday has taken tensions with Venezuela to a whole new level. We're learning more of what looks like a multi-agency operation with the backup of the U.S. military, the FBI, and Homeland Security were involved.
This was released because he saw the video and he was like, this looks incredibly cool, and that's why they posted it. I'm giving my left nut for that, okay? Then he ran the numbers on how it's going to be perceived, and then he did it. That's it. But again, refocus. Don't be like, oh my God, very stupid man doing very stupid stuff. This stupid man or smart man, depending on your perspective, I honestly do not care. It's silly to analyze world leaders in such a manner. It's a little bit more fucking complicated than that. The reason that kind of a guy is the president of the United States of America is because he is a mirror to the majority of the population and their current ideological, let's say, deficiencies. I would say degeneracies, which allowed them to spawn him into existence as an elected official. Okay.
and elite Coast Guard Special Operations Forces called Maritime Security Response Teams, including sailors and Marines from the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft. That's the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier in the world. They all took part. Officials tell us the interdiction took place without incident. That's a military term. No injuries to anyone, including the crew of the tanker. Is reportedly full of oil and is headed to Cuba. We've tracked that tanker as it entered the Caribbean from the Middle East, from the Far East. And the U.S. has sanctioned Venezuela's oil companies for years, but this specific tanker was seized because it was on the U.S. Treasury's Department's specially designated nationals list for carrying that sanctioned oil from places like Venezuela and Iran, though that was under a different name. And Attorney General Pam Bondi says that makes that ship a legitimate target. So this is all part of the pressure campaign against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government, in addition to sanctions, dozens of strikes on suspected drug boats, and that massive military buildup that gets bigger by the day. President Trump saying Maduro's days are numbered, and he has not ruled out a land invasion. And despite those sanctions, there are plenty more oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. Back to you.
Charlie D'Agata there. Thank you. Let's go live now to the White House, and CBS News White House reporter.
Please, talking head, shut the fuck up. Let me read a smart chatter's point. To your point about skipping the consent manufacturing, it's still shocking how quickly they jumped from tepid accusations of drug smuggling to just commandeering an oil tanker. Surely tankers were priority targets in Iraq, etc., but I never heard mass media admitting that in the 2000s to 2010s. There you go, my friend. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Willie James Inman. Willie James, thanks for your time today. Did the president say what the U.S. plans to do with the oil?
Hey there, Mugo. Well,
does the president say what he plans to do with the oil? Is the question. Mother of fucking God. Brav, I can't let this opportunity pass. I have to ask you, just finished Mike's Parenti To Kill a Nation. If you've read it, do you think it's a good representation of what happened over in your part of the world? Not necessarily. It's not that good. There's good parts. There's not necessarily good parts. To call any side of that conflict purely good guys is insane. It was a reactionary psychopathy of mass murder, death, and destruction, and it was a great and horrifying depiction of what happens when an internationalist and socialist project gets brought to its knees. Many contradictions of Yugoslavia itself led to this, just like many contradictions of the Soviet Union led to its fall. It's not only because they lost the Cold War, but also foreign influence and domestic, obviously, class treason, and you have that whole mess. But to an extent, simplifies it because of the, foreign perspective, which always necessitates simplification of more complex issues at hand. Also, he was reporting as it was happening right in front of him. So, people tend to make mistakes when they, write large academic pieces on already developing situations. But that's, never, like, there's not going to be a single thinker on planet Earth that you're going to agree with on 100% of everything. So stop deifying them, treat them like human beings, and adapt the intellectual, quote-unquote, properties that they've developed to your school of thought, or reject them, okay? Interact with thought. Do not interact with the man, okay? Hate the system. Do not hate the man. Love the thought. Don't love the man. Unless you want to have sex with him, then love him and love his dick. Love his dick 24/7. Glock, 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 okay? Don't forget the balls.
The president did touch on the situation off the coast of Venezuela with the U.S. taking possession of this large oil tanker. The president said is one of the largest seizures ever of this type of oil tanker. But he did touch on potentially what we could see, but also the situation at hand. Take a listen to what the president said yesterday.
Bit off-topic question, if I may. Is material conditions in the U.S. worsen for normal working class? Why don't we see a meaningful reverse migration from U.S. to European countries, for example? It hasn't gotten bad enough yet. It hasn't gotten bad enough yet. For the States, it needs to get very, 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 very bad because it needs to be stronger than the American exceptionalism that a lot of Americans feel, okay? Americans will be homeless, starving on fentanyl, freezing to death on the cold streets of New York, and they will tell themselves that they would probably be worse off if they were anywhere else, and that they should be grateful for this incredible American concrete because no other country has concrete. Americans will look at their child starve to death in front of them, and they would say, if we lived abroad, the child would have probably died 2 days ago. God bless America. God bless America indeed.
Okay, I'm told that we don't have that sound from the president, but he did say that we'll keep it, I guess, and a reporter in the room asked him, where does it go, what port it would go to, and the president...
Oh my God, that's what they're asking. That's what... Oh, Lord Christ, Lord.
Simply said that you'll have to follow the tanker. So certainly this is a situation in which the U.S. Appears to have escalated this push against Nicolas Maduro, the leader of Venezuela. Of course, we know that the U.S., the president in particular, has blasted Maduro, essentially saying that he's the head of a drug cartel. We, of course, know that oil is a big moneymaker for Venezuela. So the U.S. taking possession of this sanctioned oil tanker certainly is a escalation of sorts. It's unclear what happens with the oil, but the president seemingly saying that we'll potentially keep it. But it's unclear what will happen next from there, though, Mugo.
Yeah, and Willie James, you obviously mentioned Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro there. Is this all part of an effort to remove him from power?
Well, the president has been asked this multiple times, including this week in an interview with Politico, but he was also asked this question by our own...
Should the president remove anyone from power in a foreign country? Have we learned anything from doing this on repeat and causing the deaths of hundreds of millions of people and even tens of thousands of deaths of real Übermenschen, beautiful Americans? Who will think of the Übermenschen that might die if we invade this country, okay? Guys, Americans, please. Maybe a couple of Übermenschen will die. We must not do this. I know you care not for the Browns of Venezuela. You don't even know where that is. You think it just sounds like one of those Southern Oriental songs that you like to go jiggy with it, okay? I know that your only reference point to Venezuela is from 20 years ago when you wanted a mail-order South American bride, okay? But don't do this. There might be some American sons that die, and I know that would make you very sad. Now, you don't get it. The U.S. hasn't yet matched the kill score of the British Empire. They need to beat the high score. we gotta beat the high score, but... Of course, they'll keep it and keep robbing from people and building their own wealth. Dude, it's whether they keep it or not is irrelevant. The fact that they did it is the insanity. What this?
It's the old American double standard. You know, say one thing, do something different. And of course, the country is founded on the double
fucking golden pool, okay? Platinum pool. Incredible pool. Incredible pool.
standard. That's our history. We were founded on a very basic double standard. This country was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free.
This crazy ass biscuit man said this shit, I don't know, at least fucking 40 years ago.
Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free.
All I know is I wasn't born when this motherfucker said this shit, okay?
So they killed a lot of white English people.
He's genuinely the reason I became a leftist. There you go. And somehow right-wingers say he's theirs for some reason. In 2001, USA launched wars against a half dozen nations. In 2025, the US has been kicked out of the Red Sea, and the only violence they can do in South America is literal banditry. The Western Empire is being pushed out of the world, and it's great to see. Yes, it is. Yes, very much so it is. And I agree with the agitation there, but they're not completely crumbling. But yes, the first steps, the wobbling is very much so there. And thank you for the bits. Thank you very kindly to all bit people, to all sub people, and to all Uber people. I'm referring to the Americans. Heil Burger King or whatever. Land, blood and genetically modified soil. Blood and genetically modified soil. Yeah.
By slave owners who wanted to be free. Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free. So they killed a lot of white English people in order to continue owning their black African people so they could wipe out the rest of the red Indian people and move west and steal the rest of the land from the brown Mexican people, giving them a place to take off and drop their nuclear weapons on the yellow Japanese people. You know what the motto? You know what the motto of this country ought to be? You give us a color, we'll wipe it out. You got it. So anyway, about 80 years after the Constitution is ratified, 80 years later, the slaves are freed. Not so you'd really notice it, of course. Just sort of on paper. And that was, of course, during the Civil War. Now, there's another phrase I dearly love. That is a true oxymoron if I've ever heard one. Civil War. Do you think any country could really have a civil war? Say, pardon me. I'm awfully sorry. I'm awfully sorry.
Yeah, that's funny because every language has that sentence, but only in English it sounds like civil and civilian are basically the same word, and being civil. So yeah, the adjective and the noun and the verb. It's pretty funny.
So, now, of course, the Civil War has been over for about 120 years, but not so you'd really notice it. Because we still have these people called Civil War buffs, people who thought it was a really keen war. And they study the battles carefully, and they try to improve on the strategies and the tactics to increase the body count, in case we have to go through it again sometime. In fact, some of these people actually get dressed up in uniform once a year and go out and refight these battles. You know what I say? Use live ammunition, assholes, would you please? You might just raise the intelligence level of the American gene pool.
Anti-nerd action by George Carlin. Kamerat Eric, thank you very much for the 4 months. I became deputy chairman of the youth organization of the Communist Party I'm a member of. Thanks, Yugopnik, and the D program. Least we could do, my friend. Thank you for making what we do legitimate as well. Balkan people now control our most desired resource, BMWs. Everything is going according to plan. I tweeted this while sick. It was funny. I had to muster all my people. We have all come out of our caves, and we shall now drive over the western hordes in our BMWs like Mongols on a goddamn horse. We shall shoot our prangie from them boomers, brate boy.
Our own
closeted imperialist versus open imperialist
reporter, I should say, on 60 Minutes, he was talking to about this situation.
Okay, talking head man. Next. Oh, let's hear the Germans cover this. Let's hear the Germans cover this. Let's hear the Germans cover this.
Well, the US Homeland Security Secretary says Wednesday's seizure of an oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast was part of efforts to stop drug smuggling. The seizure comes as Donald Trump ramps up his attacks on President Nicolas Maduro and builds up the US military presence in the...
You see. Come on, you got that. Attacks on President Maduro. Huh? They were attacks on Saddam Hussein, attacks on the Taliban. You see that little. You didn't miss that one. You didn't miss that one, right? You didn't miss that one. He's been blowing up fishermen, but that's an attack on Maduro. You see, a little bit of co-efficient and manufacturing we're doing here. We take a little bit of it and then we manufacture a little bit. Oh yeah.
Caribbean. Meanwhile, Venezuelan opposition leader and Nobel Peace Laureate Maria Corina Machado made her first public appearance. Leader and Nobel Peace Laureate.
I love Germany. Deutschland über alles, bro. What the fuck? And then they pivot to the fucking late. Oh, this is fucking class.
Presence in the Caribbean. Meanwhile, Venezuelan opposition leader and Nobel Peace Laureate Maria Corina Machado made her first public appearance in 11 months in Oslo. She praised US efforts to end Maduro's grip on power, saying he's turned Venezuela into a criminal hub.
Some people talk about invasion.
And then immediately, citation of the lady.
In Venezuela, the threat of an invasion in Venezuela, and I answered, Venezuela has been already invaded.
Yeah, it's already occupied. It must be freed from occupation. We want America, bring democracy. Democracy, America, bring democracy. Yes, through missiles and death squads. We love how that's a way to bring democracy, yes, famously. You don't have to, yeah. It's Iraq right now. Ooh, incredible democracy. Afghanistan. Ooh, democracy 100 million%. Everywhere the American boot has the democracy crazy. South Korea 1 million% democracy. It is democracying out of its fucking ass. Ooh, democracying so fucking hard. Libya, the most democratic. Libya is democracy. In Libya is anarcho-capitalism. Libya is literally anarcho-capitalism right now. What's more democracy than that? That's ultimate democracy. Democracy, okay? I'm gonna democrack you right now. I'm gonna democrack your skull open, you filthy fucking subhuman. I mean, wait, I shouldn't have said that on the news. Son of a bitch.
We have the Russian agents. We have the Iranian agents. We have terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, Hamas, operating free.
Yeah, unfortunately, the fucking Stream Elements thing no longer works. Bits are appreciated. That's it. And subscriptions, of course. The Sober Chatter, this is even more unhinged. Hey, y'all. We love our Sober Chatters. Thank you, Richard Nixon via Ouija board for the 15 months. Thank you very much for democracying us up right here.
Really, already Venezuela.
Hub.
Famous Nobel Peace Prize winner, Hummus Vuvuzela.
Some people talk about
Chat, but you know, they shouldn't depose the evil authoritarian government of Vuvuzela because they will no longer have one of the three main arguments against leftists worldwide. Okay? iPhone 100 Gorillion Vuvuzela. Without Vuvuzela, they will only have iPhone and 100 Gorillion. And the iPhone is slowly falling behind evil Chinese phone. Huawei is getting better than iPhone. Okay? They will only be left with 500 Gorillion. And let's face it, we will never beat that 500 Gorillion. Okay? That is a statement too strong even for a Hakim video to debunk.
invasion in Venezuela, the threat of an invasion in Venezuela, and I answered, Venezuela has been already invaded. We have the Russian agents, we have the Iranian
oh my God, the hummus. The hummus.
agents, we have terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, Hamas.
Sorry, I have to stand up, otherwise you'll see my literally my erect dick. I have to hide it from the screen. It would have hit the microphone. Right now it's under the table. It's right here. It's down here. I'm getting my propaganda hard on. Sorry, I get inconspicuous erections from imperialist propaganda when it's this good, when it's this in your face, when it's this. Oh, it's just too good. Go down. Go down. Go down. Okay, it's gone. Okay. Sorry. I have to upkeep TOS. Son of a bitch. Thank you very much, Bark Easter J, for the 200 bits. That is very kind of you, my friend. Thank you.
Operating freely in accordance with the regime. We have the Colombian guerrilla, the drug cartel.
The Colombian guerrilla, also known as Harambe. It is crazy what is going on with it. And it is crazy how now we are mentioning Colombia only after its president started talking against Palestine. I love how Colombia has become an open target only since that happened.
That have taken over 60% of our populations, and not only involved in drug trafficking, but in human trafficking, in networks of prostitution. So this has turned Venezuela into the criminal hub of the Americas.
Now, for more on this, we had the chance to talk to former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela, James.
And then former U.S. Ambassador. Are we going to interview anybody representing the side? Doesn't have to be Maduro's side. You don't have to love Maduro. Maybe the side that does not want their country invaded. I don't know. European news anchor guy? Maybe a perspective that is like, ooh, please no bomb? Maybe there should be that perspective. Maybe the guy that is like, please no blow up mi house, mi casa, as they would say in Venezuela. Son of a bitch, dude.
Story. I asked him earlier.
Let's send all ICE agents to help Venezuela with all their invasions. We won't even know the difference between ethnicities.
If the pressure from the US is actually changing the situation on the ground.
I think it's certainly starting to change the calculus.
Can anybody grab me the link where that, oh my God, what was his name? Gary, or what was his name? That completely annihilates this dude. Please, somebody knows what I mean. They picked this guy. This dude is literally just a fucking mouthpiece. This dude is the ultimate fucking war mouthpiece for South America, and has been for like half a decade. But come on, somebody remember the clip? Oh, come on, professional clippers. Come on. It's, oh God, what was his? Oh man, I'm so bad with names. Ryan Grimm, no. Max Blumenthal, yes. So James B, yes. Blumenthal, I disagree with Blumenthal on some things, very much so agree on other things, but here he did an incredible job. James B. Story. I'm very good with faces, though. Yes, I'm very good with faces. I am so good with faces. Motherfucker, I am the face guy. Okay? I am the only person on planet Earth that can actually differentiate between white people. Okay? Can actually differentiate between them. Where was the part? This part. Watch this part, okay? Just so you see who they brought on the news. Look at this, how he starts out with a smile. This is who they this is from like a couple of hours ago. This is from 12 hours ago, okay? This is who they bring on Deutsche Welle, and let's see what kind of a guy he is.
A journalist official, you are a veteran coup plotter, and it is legitimate for a journalist to scrutinize the activities of a coup plotting government official who in February 2021 hosted a insurrectionist summit at the Marriott Hotel in Bogota. You, with Leopoldo Lopez, the US-backed coup leader who staged multiple failed military coups and led violent riots that saw Afro-Venezuelan citizens burned in the streets. Check out Orlando Figuera. And Carlos Vecchio, the fake ambassador to Venezuela, who is actually the lawyer for ExxonMobil, which seeks to regain its control of Venezuelan fields. This is one of the most deeply anti-democratic opposition movements led by Maria Corina Machado, who has led several coup attempts in Venezuela. I mean, it's basically like January 6th again and again with the sponsorship of the U.S. Embassy. Violent riots that have killed hundreds. I personally watched Maria Corina Machado attempt to take over La Carlota Air Base in Caracas while the U.S. was trying to ram aid trucks into Venezuela, which the Venezuelan opposition subsequently burned and blamed on Maduro. This is a corrupt opposition that stole millions of dollars from Citgo after the U.S. stole it from Venezuela. This is a corrupt opposition that has paid millions to U.S. mercenaries like Jordan Goudreau, who I interviewed, who has personally described to me what the real agenda here is, which was for Trump Incorporated cronies to get their hands on contracts and to plunder Venezuela's rich mineral wealth and oil. Ambassador Story revealed the agenda himself when he appeared on a straightforward propaganda piece for regime change on 60 Minutes and said, Nicolas Maduro is a bad actor sitting on the world's largest oil reserves. Well, that's why you consider him a bad actor, because there's plenty of bad actors in the world, and neither of you will condemn ICC wanted war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu or call for his arrest, will you? Neither of you will talk about Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa's role in the international drug trade through Benita and his family shipping company. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could spend the next 45 minutes talking about U.S.-sponsored bad actors, but there are bad actors. The reason Maduro's a bad actor is because he's sitting on oil reserves.
It's only fair that rather give.
And then this kind of a guy is what Deutsche Welle brings on, okay? Germany is not an independent state. The European Union needs to get its head out of its ass. And if it wants true sovereignty and to preserve any basis on which they can potentially build future survivability, okay, they need to reject just being a repeated fucking gimp fuckdoll of U.S. interests and empire. But hey, apparently they like it. You know, you can't tell a gimp stop being a gimp when he's really fucking into it. So let's hear straight from America's dick, sponsored on Deutsche Welle, also known as Germany's mouth. Damn, that allegory fucking hits so fucking hard. This is the future of news reporting, okay? Phallic objects everywhere, insane profanity. That's what we're here for, okay?
Of both Maduro and those around Maduro about what the future portends. I mean, now that this latest incident with the skipper, this oil tanker that was seized, I think this is going to send a pretty chilling signal to the international companies involved in shipping oil, especially the Ghost fleet, that perhaps Venezuela is a bad bet for business. And to the extent that the Venezuelan regime lives off of...
So that's legitimate. It's legitimate. So it's legitimate to target companies, and specifically maritime companies, specifically tankers, that interact economically with bad actors. That's good now. That's good now. Are you sure you want to say that's good now? Oh God.
Gold smuggling, narcotics
So
smuggling.
you're telling me when there's a country that's doing something fucked up, it's absolutely okay for another country to deploy its troops on these tankers and then seize them as a way to make sure that international law is kept, and a country committing large-scale war crimes feels a slight economic burn? You're saying that that's okay? I don't know. That might backfire a little bit, but okay.
Of course, the black market in oil it's going to mean it's going to be a little more difficult for Maduro to pay for those people that keep him in power.
Do recent US strikes, James, and the tanker seizure, do they still fall under counter narcotics, or have we gone past this? Have they effectively now become fairly openly a push for regime change?
There you go. We only care about taglines we attach to things. And they made fun of the Russians when they were like, "We are doing a special military operation. We are not entering war." And they were like, "What the fuck, guy? Look at how silly the Russians are. Stupid little Russians. They don't want to call it war. That is so silly. Ha ha ha. So hypocritical."
Fairly openly a push for regime change.
Well, I've said it from the beginning. This was about regime change. You don't have an aircraft carrier to go after small pangas, small fishing boats loaded with cocaine, for instance, nor do you have F-35s. What this does do is it opens yet another front, an economic front, and it's going to quickly dry up all of the ghost fleets. So these are oil tankers that have been purchased. They spoof their location. Every one of these large ships has to have an AIS tracker on it to let other ships know that they're a navigational hazard. And they'll say they're in one place, but they're really in another.
Senor Hassan's recommended for too long. Has he ever collaborated with you? Yeah, he's been on the D program like twice, which I made happen. And probably gonna be on the D program again, hopefully. We'll see.
They come into Venezuela, they pick up a load of oil, and then they launder that oil through places such as Malaysia and other places in Southeast Asia to China. They take it up to Cuba. Cuba then sells it or uses it for itself. So it opens up another front, puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the Maduro regime. But I want to be really clear here. This was a sanctioned vessel. Now, that's one thing. But according to international law, this was a stateless vessel. They were flying a Guyanese flag, and they're not on the Guyanese registry. That makes it fair game under the conventional law of the sea.
With the US operations escalating, how real is the risk of wider confrontation?
Hassan doesn't fuck with you guys anymore. I feel like Hassan likes every single tweet I ever post. What the fuck are you talking about?
With Venezuela?
I don't think we're going to have a confrontation with Venezuela. I think there's a possibility of some kind of a kinetic activity that happens within Venezuela.
You gotta get Hugo to watch the Maduro is a thug according to Yankees Bunker Cat clip. Dude, there's already a fucking opposition forming. I hate throwing shit, but look at this shit. I literally watched this guy the other time. And now blowing up like crazy. I'm sorry, but what was the fucking name? What was the name? It's gonna be one of the biggest videos literally currently up. Wait, I'm gonna find it in the backdrop.
But the vast majority of the Venezuelan people voted Maduro out of office last year. Those are the same people that went out to vote who have family members in the military. They may not be vocal, but they certainly don't stand with Maduro. Maduro is surrounded by his colectivos, his kind of a semi-official motorcycle gang that he uses to terrorize people, and other bad actors working through organizations such as military intelligence, DHACIM is called, or Sabine, the local intelligence service. And these are the people who have kidnapped Americans, tortured Americans, and crucially have done that to their own people. Just this week, one of Maria Corina Machado's operatives, who was a former governor, opposition governor, was murdered.
Operatives. While
in custody because he has political beliefs that don't align with the Maduro regime. So when you think conflict, Maduro's already in conflict with his own people.
You described the people and the practices, some of the things that keep him in power, I guess. What would it take to create the perfect conditions that allow Machado or any opposition figure to safely return and potentially drive a democratic transition?
Well, I just want to be very clear that Edmundo Gonzalez won the election last year. It was very clear. And according to law, the law in Venezuela, you have to show the proof called the actas from the voting booths on the exact count. And the regime never showed them, but the Democratic opposition had them, right? But what will it take? It'll take Maduro's departure. I don't think there's any scenario in which Maduro remaining in power in some way or power sharing arrangement would redound in the restoration of democracy. For 25 years, Chavez and then Maduro and Chavismo or Madurismo has completely destroyed the institutions of state in the country and destroyed the democracy in Venezuela. So Maduro has to leave. That's insufficient for fixing the problem, because then you have to reinstitutionalize the country. And that's where the United States, European Union, the neighborhood as well, Brazil, Colombia, others, have an important role to play in supporting the Venezuelan people.
Former US Ambassador to Venezuela, James.
Absolutely nothing has changed ever. Absolutely nothing will change ever. Everything remains the same. Guy keeps winning. We just reinvent new reasons to do the same shit. And even the reasons at this point are the same. Democratic transition, free market being open to steal from the country. These boomers spread their propaganda like the internet doesn't exist. They didn't have them. They showed many that had fake signatures or lack of them, with many others in details. Brazil and Colombia wants the U.S. to stay out of Latin American affairs. Yes, so basically what he's trying to say is Brazil and Colombia need to change their opinion, and they need to allow the United States to do whatever the fuck they want. So yeah, we watched a bunch of this shit. Classic consent manufacturing. You don't have to be a fan of Maduro to understand that quote unquote change does not come from imperial intervention or imperial overtake, especially when history shows that the country proposing overtake has a very, 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 very long and detailed history of just making absolutely everything worse for everyone on the ground. We need to stand our ground on this topic with great fervor, without allowing even an inch when it comes to any sort of argument that proposes improvement for the Venezuelan people through military intervention. Because again, you need to treat this like somebody talking about flat earth. It has never been proven to work, and it will never be proven to work because it does not work. Empire coming into a country, solidifying its own interests, putting forward a puppet government. If somebody replies, what puppet government? Oh, they haven't put in a puppet government in every single country that they've occupied. Ooh. Oh, they're not going to do it this time. Trust me, bro, they're not going to do it this time. Is falling into that very trap. And right now, the focus needs to be on that. If you have issues with Maduro, this might not necessarily be the time to voice it, because you would be playing into Empire's trap, and you would be pretty much helping build consent for intervention. The same way as you could have, shit-talked any leader for good reasons or bad reasons from any of the countries where the American boot has stepped on. If you had done it during the times when the conversation was big about potentially invading them, you have directly or indirectly helped said invasion to come to fruition. So no Fed posting also applies to knowing when to direct proper criticism and when to choose not to do so. Do we understand each other?